Welcome back to Kville. Don't know what this episode is going to be about. I'll make my mind up as we go along. What I can tell you is we're going to be putting the carburetors back on because I've got some nice Allen bolts in there, as you can see. Painted up the hose clips. They look pretty cool, I think. And yeah, let's put the carbs back on. Well, again, a lot easier than the Honda to get those back on, and just a little leverage up here just to make sure they're on, and then we'll bolt them down, which is just a question of screwing those hose clips up. Well, that wasn't so easy, but easier than the Honda. So question of actually getting the internal ones bolted up. I don't know if you can see them. So I've put these at an angle so that I could get to the bolts, the hose clips inside. I can't get a camera on them, can I? Somewhere in there. Anyway, and actually I did these ones up first to hold it in, and then got to the other. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, got to that one. So yeah, they're all back in place. Cool. Starting to look pretty good. Welcome back to Project Kawasaki, and we are on fire, I think. No, we really are. We're really steaming along with this project. So yeah, let's get on with it. Going to be dealing with lots of things in this episode, not least of all the foot pegs, I think. Preparing for spraying up the frame, if not actually doing it, and potentially turning our attention to the rear end of the motorcycle, because we have some new brakes to fit apart from anything else. And then we've got to work out what we're going to be doing with the rear wheel. Honestly, I think I'm going to leave it stock chrome. The chrome is in good nick. Anywho, foot pegs, yes, and here's what I'm thinking. Remember on the gear shift side we had this extension that brought it 3 inches closer to the lever itself, and what I'm thinking is that we basically shave these off, mount that on there at the right angle, and then put the new pegs in there fitting. That solves kind of most of the problems. It's a start anyway. It's my first thought. I think we can do it. Actually, I think we'll just shave it off like, yeah. I think that'll work. If it doesn't, we'll have to find another one of these. Ooh, I've just had another idea. Ooh, as in shopping surprise. Yes, we bought these for the CB750, and they didn't fit that without a lot of hassle, and they didn't fit the Suzuki either. So we've still got them, and I'm wondering if we could somehow utilise this instead. Obviously, the idea of the rear set is that you mount it rear of the normal foot peg and shift everything. But what I'm thinking, two things I'm thinking here. Not using these pegs actually, probably, but firstly what we could do is use that, which is pretty much exactly the right length. Something in the way there. Mount the peg there like that off the original mount, and then just tie this end up somewhere. That's a possibility. And we could mirror it on the other side. Doesn't matter that the foot peg's nearer the brake pedal itself, I don't think. Bloody enormous pedal. Or we turn the whole thing round and put the main bolt through the big hole, and then mount our pegs halfway down, and even cut the extra bit off and finish it off. That's a possibility too. So I don't think we'll be doing that just yet, because there's too many options that I need to look at properly. And I've masked all this up for the painting the frame now. I haven't even got enough paint at the moment. I've probably got enough for the front half, which I could do, because having masked it off, I realised that I haven't finished this off yet. and that requires sanding and stuff, and I don't really want to do that today. So I might do that while I ponder the numerous options that we have for foot pegs. Yeah, sod it. Let's take the back wheel off. Let's take the back wheel off. And for that I'll be using this device, which is actually not kind of designed to work exactly like I'm going to use it, but it does. Although these are right on the extremity of their adjustment. So what I'm going to do, lift everything up, take the back wheel off, and then pop the axle, the bare axle, onto these supports. Yes, just the same as we did for the Honda, except this one's even narrower at the back. So as I say, these are right on the extremity. They'll be all right. So before we get it up in the air, we're going to release this cotter pin, split pin, slightly undo the castle nut, and then lift it up in the air. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet. Probably with a jack. Can't be bothered to get the engine crane out of there because there's all that clobber in the way. I know. Lazy man does the most work. Well, this is a little different. So it's a 27mm on this side, as per the Honda, in fact. But on this side, it's not a nut. No, it's one of those, whatever that is. I'm hoping that just kind of stays where it is. If not, I've got a big crescent wrench that we can put on it. But I'm guessing that will just stay put and everything will start to unwind. We'll see. Yep, that's exactly what happened. As you can see, unwinding. I just wanted to release it a bit before we put it up in the air. But yeah, that stayed put. Good, no more specialist tools required. And while I couldn't be bothered to get that out, I couldn't be bothered to get the motorcycle jack out either, because it's down there. I've got to move all that. So luckily I managed to squeeze this boy in just. So there it is, and wheels up in the air. Lovely. Enough. So good, yeah. So, nuts off, just giving it a gentle tap. Poking out the other side. And as soon as that goes through, everything will fall off. Pretty much. Oh yes, talking of nuts. Forgot to disconnect the brake bracket and the leverage itself, so that made life easier. So that's now disconnected, so now it's kind of more free and easy, and I should be able to pull that out the rest of the way. By the way, this is the right hand spacer that goes between the brake drum and the frame, and on the other side there's another smaller spacer that sits in there with a bearing and stuff. So we're going to take all that off probably, because knowing this bike, it should be easy. Famous last words, but I think we'll tidy this sprocket up a little bit. If not replace it, honestly. Might look at replacing that. Yeah. It probably deserves it. Especially as I've just discovered that potentially this is the 162nd off the production line. Is that really what this means? Back to this, and as you can see, I've put the axle back in. I haven't put the nut on it yet. I need to jack this up a little bit more just to be able to drop the axle into these boys. So these adjusters, which are rather nice actually, with their little holes in, much nicer than the Honda. About to get a foam bath, because guess what colour they're going? Blue! No, yellow. Green, of course. The beauty of this device also is that it does have wheels of sorts, so you can kind of move things around if you need to. Well, that's annoying, because these brake pads look almost new. Shoes, even, not pads. Yeah, one careful owner, barely used. That's annoying actually. I really don't need to replace them. Well, I've got new ones now. And mine are grooved. So let's put some groovy ones on. but not now. First of all, let's get this sprocket off. So that involves, it's kind of the opposite of a split pin. These brackets here, as you can see, they're kind of turned up to stop the nut coming undone. So we're going to be using a big ass screwdriver and a medium-sized hammer. Just flatten those out, and that will allow us to undo the nuts. Like so. Flattened sufficiently. Again, you can reuse these, but it might be worth getting some new ones, I think. Talking of which, I had a look at the bearings. I might get some new bearings too. They're under here. Yeah, I mean, well maintained, but old. Don't want wheel bearings going. I don't like replacing wheel bearings. I did it on the Yamaha. It was a real pain in the butt without special tools. So I might give this to Chris to get on with that. Yes, the one tool I have not invested in so far is a bearing puller. So I'll probably ship those off to Chris, like I said. And ironically, you know, the brakes didn't need doing, but we'll probably put the new ones in anyway. But we've kind of discovered other things that we should probably look at, like, you know, the sprocket, which I would have probably done anyway. But you know, the bearings, you know, given the rest of the upkeep on this bike, they're probably okay. But while we got the wheel off, it would be kind of rude not to. You know, the whole exercise will probably cost 100, 150 bucks. Rather silly not to do it. And if we're going to ship this wheel off to Chris to do the bearings, I think it's time we made our mind up what we were going to do with it, as opposed to painting it or whatever. I'm erring towards leaving it chrome, because all this chrome is in pretty good nick. I mean, the spokes are a bit rough, obviously, but the chrome itself is actually not bad. So at the same time, what I should do is order in a tyre and get him to fit that as well. And if we do decide to paint the wheel, we have done that with the tyre on before in the Honda episode. Yes, we painted the front wheel after we put the tyre on. Just a lot of masking involved, but it came out very well. So yeah, let's get all that sorted all at the same time. New tyre, new bearings. I'll get a new sprocket in, probably some of these fancy, whatever you call them. I don't know what they are. Anti-nut slippage. The opposite of KY. Would that be YK? 2YK? 2YK washers. That's what they are. Of course, the other good thing about taking the back wheel off before we painted the frame is it'll make painting the frame a lot easier. In fact, I would have to have taken the back wheel off. But yeah, now I can get to all that, clean it up, get the chain out of the way, probably get a new chain, although that looks in decent condition. And we can get everything cleaned up and painted up inside there and stuff like that. Gets it much easier. I gotta say, this paint is truly excellent. It's very directional, so with very little masking you can do stuff like this, and it's kind of forgiving. You can lay it on quite thick and it won't run. I mean, obviously on a frame it doesn't matter too much, but yeah, I mean, it just goes on beautifully, and you can see the result. And you probably saw how much I didn't prep it. I haven't done that bit, obviously. But yeah, I mean, just a beautiful, yeah, see, I didn't even mask that. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it's superbly easy to use. So I thoroughly recommend this product. That's it, it's done. Oh, did I mention it goes a long way? So I've done most of the front end, and I've got a couple of days while tyres and bearings and things come in to clean this up and sort that out, and then spray up the back end. I decided to spray this up, which I'm kind of regretting now, honestly, because That green paint does this, that VHT, it kind of bubbles, and that's really annoying. So anyway, that's what it looks like at the moment, which is not great, is it? Did me a little indicator arrow, green, that looks nice, but that's gonna require some cleanup operation. Tedious. So, this stuff's quite good. This stuff is excellent. This, not so much. Which is a shame, because I was thinking of painting this Kawasaki green once the new bearings have been put in, which I've ordered already, and a tyre. Not dissimilar from the one that's on there at the moment, except that's just old and kind of cracking up a bit. Pattern wise, it's not dissimilar. Limited choices, to be honest, on these old wheel sizes. Shame. Looking at that back end, I'm thinking of something obviously slightly different than that, but similar to that, just as a design thing. One of the other things I want to look at right now is that whole tail situation, bringing it forward on the battery mounts and what that looks like with the side panels, because I've sent the seat off to be finished and I kind of hadn't thought it through. I remembered there's some wonky angles involved. We better check that out. So that's not fully tightened down, but that's with a 10mm spacer up the front, but the reality is it needs to come down at the back. And that's all down to this, honestly. So I can take those off. I need to cut them off. Yep, need to take these boys off. I left them on because I thought they might be useful, but clearly they're not. And we might have to like shave that at that angle. I don't know. Well, first stage, get these boys off, because they're not helping. Good job I hadn't painted them up yet, right? Yeah, and what better point to call it a day. So as always, thanks for watching. Do subscribe so you get the updates. I don't know what we'll be doing next time. And yeah, if you thought the video was any good, give it a thumbs up. And of course, encourage others to watch my lunacy.